Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of MouseMinds. My name is Robert, and I am on a new microphone this week, which sounds way better. And I am joined by Michael this week.
Hello, good evening. I'm just
Good.
updating my Facebook post, so we are
Who-
cross platforms. Find us on
There we go.
Facebook, folks.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, not Twitter. There's no more Twitter. Twitch, Disney and Beyond on YouTube. You can find us on all kinds of streaming platforms. I really like this mic, and I like your mic too. Both of our mics are sounding really good today. This is
Fantastic.
good. This is sparking joy.
We made it to the 19th century. We're improving.
Yeah. So we've had a pretty eventful week this week. We wanted to. Obviously, we're gonna talk about it for a second. I'm not. Michael, and by it I mean the parade. We'll mention it, but Michael hasn't seen it, so I'm not gonna say too much. But I will say there is a very awesome video out there that is done by a very good video that is done by Tom Corliss, which really explains the new in detail and really a lot of the things I agree with, some of the things I don't, but um, yeah, just watch the video. No, we'll talk about it in a minute. But we are here this week for you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all the major streaming platforms, and of course, recording for your favorite podcasting platform here. And we have a lot to talk about this week. The parade, of course, being one of them. We also have to talk about the news that we got today, which is the Animation Courtyard is coming back to Hollywood Studios. And I think we should also get Michael's opinion. And of course, keep in mind, we haven't seen it in person. I wish Luelle was here. She'll join us next week. But just from an outsider's point of view, and we'll talk to her about it too, because I'm sure she's seen it in person, on the new Walt animatronic. Because I'm torn on this one. Have you seen any video of it? Have you avoided it like the plague, Michael? What do you...
I don't know if it's a show I would sit through. I mean, eventually I would if I were out there. So I haven't bothered with the video, but I've seen clips and I've seen pictures, and I am frightened. I don't know what else to say.
That doesn't seem like an inappropriate response.
I guess in all fairness, they really didn't have any reference photos to use. They had no images anywhere, the entire property, to look and see what Walt might have looked like back then. So they just had to guess, I guess, just try to wing it and come up with they thought Walt might have looked like. Holy Christmas, how do you drop the ball like that?
So here's my thing. So is number one, they had the Walt Disney family, his family did not want there to be an animatronic.
Exactly.
And I think, I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I think it's not good. It's weird. Like I've seen a video that Disney put out, and they were really up close on it. They were the only ones in the theater, and it didn't look good. But then again, I've seen videos in the actual theater that people recorded of the show, and he looks better. Not perfect, but better. But I think it's because they're not up close. I think when you're up close on it, it's kind of like the Carousel Progress animatronics. When you get really close to them, you notice things. But when you sit in the seating and you're sitting back away from the stage, you don't notice things as much. Especially like in the final scene. I've seen a lot of close-up shots of the final scene, the future scene, and a lot of the animatronics look kind of rough up close. But when you're sitting in the seats, you don't really notice it that much because you're so far back. So I think the same applies here. But I will say, other than his face, everything else about him is amazing. The movements of his arms, the way he kind of like walks, that looks so lifelike. Like that looks really good. It's just his face is like off, and I at least up close. Again, I haven't seen it in person, but at least up close, that's what it looks like to me. I mean,
See, no,
I think. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I get what you're saying, and yeah, I agree to a point, right? So the animatronics in Carousel of Progress aren't supposed to look like anyone. They're just
Yeah,
people. So if they don't look,
exactly.
it doesn't look exactly like this fictitious. There is nobody.
Yeah,
The Hall of Presidents, outside of the
yeah,
last, 2-3 decades of presidents, we don't know what they look like outside of pictures. Yet
yeah,
these are pretty spot on. You don't look at George
yeah,
Washington and go, "My God, this is nightmare fuel."
yeah.
For something like this, something this significant, and yes, the family said no, and apparently they were right. Um, you needed to do your founder a
Yeah,
better service
yeah.
than what
I agree,
they came up with.
and I think too, because I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole uh, show. I watched the whole presentation. I watched everything. And honestly, I mean, this is going to sound blasphemous, but I found the parts that were not the Walt animatronic to be a little bit boring. And not boring in the sense that it's Walt's life and history and everything else. That is awesome. The information is fantastic. I feel like they purposely tried to stretch the show and make it, something that should have been, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. They extended it out further. I don't remember the
Hmm.
full length. So I want to say it's like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that.
Too
So
long.
it's too long, and there's too much stuff. They could have condensed it down and done a lot more. And sometimes less is better, and I think in this case that is the case because the scene that there is with Walt is fantastic. The audio. I mean, he has that whole thing about you know the kid asking him what he does at Disney and so on and so forth, and that bit is actually really interesting. It's really cool to hear his voice and see him, and then to hear that story. I had personally never heard that clip before, but I feel like the preamble to that is just so long, and we get 5 minutes of Walt, and then we get 25 minutes of everything else. And I like the narrator, don't get me wrong, it's Bob Iger. It's fantastic, that's great. But and it has nothing to do with the narration. It's just it's too it's I don't know, it's like sitting through a longer documentary, and that's fine. But when you're in a theme park, I mean, you didn't come to a theme park to sit through that. You came in it to see something. I mean, the movie at Hollywood Studios does a great job. I think it's like 10, 12 minutes long, something like that. I don't know the actual time frame, but that does a great job. You're in and out, you learn about walls. It is fantastic. It is well done. I have nothing wrong with that film. I actually enjoy that film. But this just felt a little long to me. I don't know about you, Michael, but it felt a little long to me. I don't know if you've actually seen any of the videos or anything like that.
Yeah, see, and that was going to be my connection. The one man's dream bit, they nailed it. You're not spending time there. You're going in, you're seeing some stuff. Yeah, the recording of the voice, yeah, they already have that. So if they mess that up, that would be a problem. That's the easiest thing they had to do. It was creating the animatronic, getting it to sync up with the audio, the 10-15 minute presentation, and I'm not even sure that it's that long. at One Man's Dream, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just long enough, short enough that you go in there, you're not bored. It's not like when they tell you, hey, for the next 45 minutes, you're going to be trapped in here inside
So
Golden Dream, and everyone starts getting a little edgy and
okay,
uneasy.
so I've actually looked this up. So we're
Go
way
ahead.
off, and it feels a lot. This just tells you how
Feels longer,
it's shorter. It's a
shorter
lot
than
shorter.
what you're thinking.
Yeah, so it's actually 20 minutes. The show is
Okay.
20 minutes.
All
And
right.
then One Man's Dream is 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm a little shocked that it's 20 minutes because I watched that and I was like, there were parts where I fast forwarded because it was
Mm-hmm.
just it was just so it was so long winded. Maybe I need to see it in person, but and then the other thing of this too, I think Disney hyped up the Walt animatronic so much that I think a lot of people thought we were just going to see the Walt animatronic the whole time, and that's only a small section of the show. It's not the bulk of the show is this history of Walt. So and I want to say it was like 5 minutes of Walt. So, um, I yeah they I don't know. I mean, I have to. It's one of those things I have to see. I can't wait to hear Luella's review of it. I
Yes.
know it's very popular because I believe they're doing a virtual queue for it and it's selling out every day. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I almost expect them to maybe do some tweaking uh, in the next and sooner rather than later, at least to the face. I don't think they'll tweak the show that much because, I mean, they already recorded that with Bob Iger and it's a whole thing.
Right.
I don't think they're going to do that,
No, and nor
which is
nor do they
fine.
need to. But that face
Yeah,
should never ever have made it as
yeah,
far as it did. Nobody looked at that and said, "Oh my God, that looks just like every picture we have all over the office."
yeah, yeah. That's yeah. And
Was it
then
just me,
and
or
for
when I
and
heard that Bob Iger was doing the narration, I was having Michael Eisner flashbacks from the '90s when he was just all over
mm-hmm,
every single thing.
yep. Well, I was definitely Bob Iger, but I mean, I knew Bob Iger was going to do it, but I almost kind of wondered if it was going to be Josh D'Amaro at one point too. So you never know with him. I mean, if that man is not the successor to Bob Iger, I don't know who is going to be because they are totally keeping Josh D'Amaro in the spotlight. You see him in every picture next to Bob Iger. He's doing all the presentations, everything. Like that he's definitely going to be the next Bob Iger. I mean, they did the thing on Main Street at Disneyland last week. They rang the bell. I think was it for the New York Stock Exchange? Yeah, they rang the bell for the New York Stock Exchange on Main Street, and he was right there next to Bob Iger. So those two are like right there together. And I would not be I would be surprised if Josh D'Amaro is not the next CEO of Disney. That it wouldn't. I mean, and he's so far, Josh has done a great job. I've seen him when he was at, the other parks, and he did a great job, especially the parks here. So, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it was one thing when Josh was just here on the East Coast, but they've got him all over the place now, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't invest time in a man like that if you don't have big plans for him, because otherwise, you just keep him where he needs to be. You don't necessarily need to have him out in public, but for all they're doing with him, hopefully, and what's great is that he really seems to have his pulse at least on, and maybe that's one of the drawbacks. He's very all over the parks, and I don't know
Yeah,
how involved he is in the other areas, and he'd
and the
have to
movie
learn
side
it.
of it. Yeah,
You've had guys that come in that were all about the movies and they had to learn
yeah,
park operations. He's all about the parks and he'll have to learn about movies. But knowing parks also means knowing concession, knowing
yeah.
merchandising to a point, knowing revenue stream and tickets. And so the movie part you learn, and you also have folks that can help guide you through it. But maybe the
And
biggest bulk of the job is in parks and
yes,
operations.
I was just about to say because I think the biggest bulk of revenue for them is the parks.
At this point,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that would be a huge part of the job. So having someone that has that that expertise is definitely a huge win for the company, and has been a park president, and then our park vice president, and then moved up to Disney World vice president, and then moved up to parks and operations and all that stuff. So he's moved his way up to the ladder. So he's seen, all these different positions, and how they work, and what they face in those positions. So it'll be interesting to see, and we see a lot of good things coming in the future. Villains Land is coming. Uh, you know, Everyone is super excited for that. We just closed down the steamboat and Rivers of America for Piston Peak at at Magic Kingdom. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. They're starting to work on that. We have some other. We just had Test Track open today, actually, which looks amazing. So there's a lot of good stuff coming to the parks, and I'm sure Josh has his hands in all that. And then, of course, the big news that we had today, which everyone is super excited about, and rightfully so. I mean, this is major news here, is the new Magic of Disney animation experience coming to the animation courtyard, which is going to be taking over the Star Wars launch bay, which, let's be honest, really hasn't been much in years, ever since they built Batuu and Galaxy's Edge. And then, of course, it's taking over the Disney Junior Play and Dance spaces as well. So it'll be fantastic to see that again. My only hope is that they can get animators in there somehow, because one of my greatest memories as a child is seeing the animators in the courtyard actually working on stuff. Even if it's on a computer, even if it's everything is digital now. I get it, but even if it's that, like doing that type of work inside Hollywood studios, that would just be so amazing to see again. Like that would just be the cherry on top.
Uh, I don't know what they're doing with this.
Hmm.
Now that hand drawn animation is gone, I don't know.
Yeah,
Are they still doing animation out here, especially after that Lake Nona project fell apart?
that's true.
And they're keeping animation and the Imagineers out in California because nobody wanted to come out to Florida, and I don't blame them. So, I don't know if they would necessarily shift, or do they need to, or is this just going to be
Yeah,
another kid thing based around
I mean,
animation? Maybe they'll take some of
they
the
could
ideas
do.
they had for the play area and incorporate it here. They already had stuff on the drawing board.
Well, they're going to definitely do. They're doing the Drawn to Wonderland, which is going to be a brand new indoor playground inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So there's going to be a Mad Tea party play area and exploration zone for younger guests. So there is going to be something like that there. I believe that's going to be in the courtyard area. So they are doing that in there, but I could totally see them maybe annexing a small portion of the animation team out there to do it, or even if it's like they have like traveling desks where they have an animator once a week, have someone come in and work in that office for a week. I don't know what the answer is there, but I think they could totally make that work. Now, the other news that we got out of this announcement is the return of the Sorcerer Hat. The Sorcerer Hat is coming back to Hollywood Studios, but in a much smaller
Right on and
portion.
that was the other thing and it's going to cast magic. I'm like, that's where things are going to fall apart. So whatever they have in mind, it'll be cool to see back up there. It won't be the same thing, but I guess only because they're patterning it after one of the buildings in California.
Yeah, that is correct. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Hollywood Studios getting some love. I'm not mad about it. I mean, look at what we're getting. So we just got rid of Muppets, but we're getting the Muppets coaster attraction in replacing Rock and Roller Coaster. That's still going on.
Hmm.
We're getting Monsters Inc. Land. We're getting we just got the new Little Mermaid show, and then of course Animation Courtyard. I mean, it's gonna be awesome. Now, the only thing that is I would say is mildly sad about this project is the archway is going to be torn down, which is kind of sad. The entrance now to Animation Courtyard, if you haven't seen it, it's iconic because I mean when MGM Studios or when it was MGM Studios, they would always flash that as and it showed it says MGM Studios on there. Whenever you saw it on TV or whatever else, you saw that MGM Studios logo and you saw that archway. So that is iconic to the park. But then again, the park has changed so much in the years. We no longer have a backlot tour. There's so many different that there's no more Great Movie Ride. So those days are gone. I'm not too upset about the archway, but I know people are like upset that the archway is going away. But
Now,
honestly,
remember, the park was also going to fall apart when they took down the iconic Earful Tower, and we're fine.
yeah,
We're taking away a part, and that was the same thing. It was iconic. It was this. It's fine. After a while,
yeah,
you're going to walk past and say, "Was there something here?" I don't think so, and you're going to keep
yeah.
moving.
No one will remember.
No one's going to
Are
remember.
there be that one YouTuber that is doing a history tour of Walt Disney World and said this was here 5 years ago and this is what it used to look like. But other than that, yeah, you're right. I don't think anyone is going to notice. They'd much rather have the animation courtyard than anything else. So I'm definitely sure that they will enjoy that.
Have you
But
been in the
yes,
new Little Mermaid show?
I have. Have you?
Is it any different than the last one outside of a few changes, or is it
Oh
totally
yeah, it's
revamped?
completely like I mean, obviously like um the show is very similar. Same music, everything pretty much the same there. Uh but there are sections of the show that I mean, of course the stage area is completely different. I'd have to see the old one to kind of refresh my memory. The biggest thing that I remembered from the old show was when you would that initial scene where you went underwater and then water would fall on you and it was very cold and the
Hmm.
whole audience would get splashed. They don't do that anymore. But you basically are underwater and it's a good show. I actually really did enjoy that show. It's the same thing. I would say and maybe I'm sure people will roast me for this, but I would say it's very similar to the ride, the attraction at Magic Kingdom, as
That's
far
what I
as
was wondering.
the
Sure.
bright colors, the way they dance, the songs, the fish under the sea when I do the under the sea song, so things like that. I likened it to that, but it is very good. It is definitely worth seeing. It is a great show, and I think it's a great addition to the park. So I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Now, let's move over to Epcot. Of course, we had Test Track open today, which I have not been on yet. I was going to go today, but if you know anything about Florida in the summertime, it rains every afternoon. We're having showers pretty much every day at 5, 6 o'clock. And as much as I did not mind waiting in a 90-minute wait for Test Track, which honestly, it's a new version, so I'll do that. This is my one time that I'll do that. I did not want to get 60 minutes into the ride and then it starts downpouring and then the ride is closed. So that was not a thing that was going to happen. But I think we talked about this previously. But it does look really good. Um, Everything about it looks really good. Everything I've seen looks really good. I like the theme of it. So we are definitely good on that one. I will try to go either tomorrow or the next day. Like I said, it just depends on the weather. That ride is very temperamental. I know I had friends who went to the cast previews and didn't get to ride it because of the weather. So
Yeah, that outdoor part. I mean, it's great, but it's also a curse, because you
yes,
are restricted by weather. Any
yeah,
other ride you run into because it's raining.
yeah,
This one you have to leave because it's raining.
yeah,
There's no
exactly.
respite. There's no hope. I mean, and then if you're going to wait it out, fine. which is like any other ride. I mean, I've gotten caught in Rise of the Resistance, and the ride goes down, and you wait a half hour, and you go, do I wait another half hour? Is it going to come up as soon as I leave? This one is very weather dependent.
But it does. But the thing about Rise is, it does come up. Test track. It rains. The ride shuts down. And the other element of it being outdoors too is the temperature greatly affects the stability of the ride as well. Does the ride break down a lot? I mean, when it gets hot out, that's the thing that can happen. It breaks down a lot. So this is just, I mean, not all the time, but it does happen. It can break down because of the heat.
Absolutely
So
can.
it is
Sure.
that being exposed to the elements like that is a major part. But then again, that is out of all of the things on that attraction that people remember the most, of course, the outside loop is the number one thing that people remember the most. I just wish there was a way to cover it or something. But then again, I was thinking about this earlier. How would they even do that? Because the whole point of that section is, getting the exhilaration of driving in a car that is a convertible and racing through at 65 miles an hour. So, what do you do for that? I don't know what the answer is, but it does look like an amazing addition. I'm excited to see that. Epcot definitely got some love this summer between that and, of course, we've talked about this before, GO82, which looks awesome. I actually did see. I know I was talking before about the fireworks dessert party, which is $200, which is still crazy, but I did watch someone that, or did talk to someone who did the fireworks show there, or did the fireworks from there, and he showed me the video, and the view is actually really, really good. It's a lot of people think that the barges are blocked and you can't see anything, and honestly, yeah, they are a little bit, but the view is really, really good. Like, it's really good. I was impressed. It's not $200 good because,
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yep. Yep.
you don't apparently don't get refills on any of the food or anything like that, but still, the fireworks views do look really good. I still don't think it's something that I would do just because I don't. It's just hard. It's a hard sell on a $200 dessert party. That's a tough one.
There's nothing exclusive except the view. You're not seeing different fireworks. I don't need to see them from
Yeah,
eye level or sky level. I just want to see the fireworks like everybody else standing there.
yeah.
You can keep your damn $200 ticket. Not happening.
I mean, I guess in the sense of it's exclusive and a smaller area, and
Yeah.
you're watching the show with a limited amount of people, and you're not standing in a crowd, and you're getting fed
Nope.
champagne all the time. If that's what you like, then by all means go ahead. I'm not really a drinker, so I don't drink. So the drinking, the only thing that had any merit to me was the food. And once I found out you could not get refills on the food, and you basically get like this tiny plate with like a little bit of hors d'oeuvres on it, enough to keep a bird alive. I was like, yeah, this is I'm not paying $200 for this. If you know even if I drink champagne, I don't think it would be worth $200. But I mean, to each their own. If you want to experience that in a setting where it's 21 plus only and it's a very limited crowd, then by all means have at it. But I will go at another time because the food does look really good, and I'll go at another time and check that out. Now, going on here, of course, we have to mention Magic Kingdom, and we have to mention the parade, which is the big news this week. Everyone saw the parade. There's a whole like hour and 15-minute long video where Tom Kors from Walt Disney World News Today breaks down every float and talks about every float and gives his opinion on every float. Um, it's worth watching if you're curious. When it comes to this parade in general, I'll just give a brief review because Michael hasn't seen it yet.
Not yet.
I will say, for people that are not hardcore Disney fans and come to Disney often, I think that any nighttime parade to them will be awesome. They will enjoy it because it is a nighttime parade. But I think for the hardcore Disney fans who have seen parades like Paint the Night, Spectral Magic, Main Street Electrical Parade, parades like that, you might be a little disappointed. You might be a little disappointed. I know myself, I was a little disappointed, just because of the fact that, the parade felt incomplete. There was, the audio for the parade, or the soundtrack for the parade, was basically Wish Upon a Star done faster and like some sort of electronic beat, and it was that basically on repeat. Some of the floats had audio. I know the Elsa float, for example. Elsa rolled by on the float, and you would hear Into the Unknown. You hear like the sirens calling Into the Unknown, like the start of it. And then she would roll by, kind of do some hand gestures at you. She wouldn't wave at you, do some hand gestures at you, and then she'd just roll on by. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't wave at you. She doesn't do anything. It just
No,
was.
no
It
audience
was.
interaction.
It was very awkward. It was
Mm.
very awkward. I was like shocked that I was like, this just feels weird. Like, and then in between the floats, they have now, if you're used to Main Street Electrical Parade, for example, there's characters all over in between the floats. Any nighttime
Yes.
parade we have, there's characters all over the float. There is only one character on the ground in the whole parade, and that's Tinkerbell. The whole parade, 15-minute parade, one character on the ground.
You think it's
All the other
staffing?
characters, I don't
Because
know,
these
because
parades cost a lot of money to run. The
yeah,
drivers
but
of the
they have,
floats, the characters on the floats, the characters in the middle. You want to
mm,
put out one of those silly
but they
turtles or whatever. You got a driver in the turtle too.
yeah, but they have the characters on the parade floats.
On the
Like
float,
they
right?
have a,
Exactly. So do they need extra pay? Do you need? I don't know. But I mean, is
but the
it going to
problem,
fill in these gaps?
but the
Which it
problem
sounds like
is
it would.
it definitely would. The problem with the characters on the float is they each have their own like dance sequence that they do. It's not just like, I mean, I think maybe and on some of the floats they tried too hard. I would just be happy with them rolling by and waving at me. I mean,
Hmm.
like, honestly, I would be happy with that. But then you have this float with, what is it? Who's on the float? Is it Tiana, Belle, and Cinderella? I think is on the float, and they do this whole like dance routine, which is like choreographed, with all three of them doing the same dance at the same time. And I mean, it's impressive that it's so, like, it's like military precision. They all dance together like you would think they were all robots. The way they dance together at the same time, it just is not something that screams fun. And then once that's over, they don't really wave at you. Like they just kind of go and do their own thing. Like it's like you're not even there.
I'd probably rather have, I'm sure a lot of the little kids and I'm sure way too many of these nut job adults
Mhm.
would rather have them interact with the audience and with the people
Yes,
on the ground
yes,
than with other people on the float. I don't care if you're dancing with the prince or not, or if you're acknowledging. Wave to the people that have just and some of these
yes,
nut
yes.
jobs have been standing out there 3 hours.
As
Um,
a fellow nut job who waited 4 hours for this parade on Main Street, sitting on a hot surface, waiting for this thing, I would have killed to have interaction with the characters during this parade.
right.
I 100% is what I wanted, and that's what I was thinking. I was like so excited. The characters are going to come up to me. They're going to wave at me. This is going to be fun. But they were all. It was like almost like they had like invisible walls around all of them. Like they just like for like the first float of the parade, where it's this giant, beautiful, gorgeous float that comes out, tall as can be, bright blue colors. There's a like a fairy godmother up there, beautiful float. I don't remember what it is, but in the back of that float, you don't see anything. It's dark, and then all of a sudden a light flashes on, and you all of a sudden see Geppetto and Pinocchio, and then Pinocchio says, I can walk," and it's like, where did that even come from? Like,
Right.
what just happened? It just made no sense. And it was poorly lit on top of that. You couldn't really see inside there. They had the lights like dimmed. Like you saw them, but it was like it was poorly lit. And then the the kicker of the whole thing is in between the floats. Not only do they not have the characters, but they have these people dressed in all black, and they are either holding these like sticks, like metal rods that have like either like something that's supposed to symbolize a plant or a tree that's kind of lit up, or some like that in front of the Elsa float they had like these weird like diamond sculptures, and they were holding them up in the air, and they're again all walking in like a military precision line, like they're marching off to war or something. And they just there's no like they don't really like necessarily smile at you. They just kind of all proceed together and then go straight. There's no like individuality or anything like that. And then closer to the end of the parade, middle of the end of the parade, there is these dancers on uh, Main Street. They actually have some people, guy and girl dancing with each other, and they're wearing these black outfits, and they have lights on them. Don't get me wrong, but they have like one single string of lights that goes like down the side of each of their pant legs, and that's it. You can barely see them because they are wearing all black and barely have any lights on them. And on top of that, the lights flicker. It is so like like it's crazy. I don't even know what to think. Like, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so passionate about this. People are gonna be like, "What is going on?" Like, I know there's far worse problems in this world. Again, we've established that I'm one of the nut jobs that Michael was talking about, but to not have a nighttime parade for so long, and then to get this, it was like there's these. It's like one of those things where like we're like 90% of the way there. The floats are gorgeous. Apparently, the company who made the floats for the movie parade at Universal Studios also made the floats for this parade, and they're gorgeous. The Elsa float looks gorgeous. It has screens inside, like the ice. You can see Anna on there. Oh, it's so cool. It's great. But then again, the way the performers act is what the problem is.
Here again, you had so much time to get this ready, to get it going, to try it, and I guess they couldn't wait until previews at the park to start collecting data and then making changes. But have they lost touch with what an audience would really appreciate? This isn't your first parade. I mean, maybe some of the people that worked on the first one are long gone, but you have enough footage to go back and watch. Hey, this is what worked. This is what didn't work. I've seen the California parades
Yeah.
where the characters will step out of the parade and interact with people and babies and kids in costumes and hug adults and whatever. You're removing that. And I don't know if they ever did that in Walt Disney World. I can't remember. I'm not a big parade guy. But you're removing some of that humanity. You're removing the
Yes.
touching and communicating and connecting with the folks there. When you wave and they're not just waving out, when they're waving at you and you wave back and the little heart thing, the silly thing they do with their hands, hey, they did it at me. They didn't do it to the crowd.
Yeah.
We made eye contact, and for one
Yeah.
split second, Alice in Wonderland waved at me. That is so cool. And it sounds like they ripped all that from the parade almost, and now you're replacing it with the stick puppeteers from the Finding Nemo show.
And that's exactly what
Yep.
they are. Wow, I never thought about that. That's exactly what they are. And the thing is too, like the only float that I really felt like you really got some real interaction with the characters was the final float, which is the train float, which has Mickey and Minnie on it. And for the most part, the whole time they're standing up there waving at everyone, so on and so forth. But the characters in front of them, Donald, I think Goofy was there, I think Daisy was there. They're all stuck in this like choreographed routine, and it's like honestly they could just ditch the routine and just wave at people and it would be perfectly fine.
People stand at the
Like
bottom of the
it doesn't.
train station at night to wave to the characters. Why not just let it continue into the parade? I don't need to see Goofy dancing. I want Goofy to wave to my kid. I want Goofy to wave to my grandmother who's going to, you know what I mean? That's why you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's it feels like two things. Number one, it feels like they tried really hard to make these really elaborate. I don't know if I'd say elaborate, but these really um, these precise dance choreographs. And number two, it feels like they got the floats built for the parade and then ran out of budget.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being dead. I'm
Yeah,
being dead
it
serious because you look at
happens
the
a lot.
floats.
Yep.
Go look at the floats. Watch any of the videos. The floats are gorgeous. They are insane. Like they are so pretty. Like the Coco float, it has fireworks going off the back. He's on there dancing, singing. Like it's like whoa, what is going on? This is great. But then you in order to get all these amazing floats, we also get these in between things that are just not great. There's nothing in between it, and it feels like we're missing that, and it's a key component of the show. And I'm not the only one that's saying this. There's a lot of people saying the same thing. A lot of people are saying. A lot of my friends are saying. One of my friends said it best. It feels like the show doesn't have heart. There's no heart to the show. There's no, with Wishes, with Electrical Parade, with, uh, you know, all these nighttime shows, whether it be fireworks or whatever else. There's that emotional connection to the show. There's that wanting to, you know, get the soundtrack, listen to the soundtrack. You know, heck, I drive to work sometimes and I got Main Street Electrical Parade blasting in my
Mm-hmm.
car. Like, you want to hear it because you connect with that parade, and that's just most people that I've talked to did not connect that way with this parade. The soundtrack is just there's it's not, listen to Festival of Fantasy, the soundtrack, and then listen to this. You'll hear it's like night and day.
Is it going to take
But
time, or is
I
it one
mean,
of those things where I really wanted to leave the park humming to a tune, and it's not happening? Because sometimes you do. You sit through it once, and you go, "Holy cow, great soundtrack." It doesn't sound like that's the
I
thing.
think that I think that this has potential. This is my thing. I think that they need to do is tweak a few things, get some more characters on the street. You know, maybe jazz up the outfits for these cast members. Um, jazz up these cast members, their outfits, and make them have more lights on the outfits, and then also go ahead and add more audio to the floats, because there's some floats that don't even have really any
Oh
audio at
wow,
all.
really?
Like you see a float roll
Yeah.
through, and you hear the music for the parade, but you don't hear any audio from the float. I mean, the Elsa float is a prime example of that. You literally hear the beginning of Into the Unknown, where you hear like the sirens calling, and you hear that and that's all you hear as she rolls by. She doesn't even like wave at you. She kind of just does like her hands, like she's summoning something, and then that's it. And it's like it just feels so awkward. Like I maybe we're just preconditioned as fans to expect so much more, because another parade she would have been, there would have been a lot of fanfare for her, and she would have been singing or something, or she would have been waving, but she just looked so serious on that float. She wasn't even smiling when she came
And I
past me.
don't,
She just looked so serious. It's like, what is going
I don't know if
on?
it's a matter of expecting more, because it sounds like they absolutely could have just given more, and they didn't. So it's not that you're expecting it. I mean, it should have been there in the first place, and
Yeah.
somebody fell asleep and woke up and go, "Holy cow! I forgot to write the rest of the script, or I forgot to whatever." Like I said, maybe they allocated the budget in different places, but wow, not excited to see this now.
It's crazy because I watched the video. Uh, was it last week? Whatever the most recent, they call it Imagineering, was released, and I saw how much the producer of the parade, our show director, cared about the parade. She was so excited. She was like, this is my legacy. Like, people are gonna remember me forever for this, and it's true. They will. Like, whether it's good or bad, people are going to remember
Yep.
this parade forever, and they're going to remember the one who made it. So that is 100% true statement, and she was so honored to work on it. And Disney even released a video on Facebook, that says to all the dreamers out there, and it was all the people working on the parade, and they said you can create magic like this too. And that was so. I mean, it almost moved me to tears to hear those words, because it is so true, to see that inspiration. And it really pains me to say these things, because I see how much these people care about the show, and and I don't know. It's one of those things that's hard, because I really see how much they cared about the show. I just don't know. I don't understand. It really feels like they had a vision for the show, and then someone who crunches numbers said, we can only do this. It's like that scene from the Muppets, the Muppet 3D. It's a glorious 3-hour salute to all nations, but mostly America. And then Kermit comes in. You got
Yeah,
a minute and a
that's it.
half. That's
How
what it
much
feels like.
is on the cutting room floor, so to speak? You have all these grand ideas,
Exactly.
and the budget people came through and said, "Nope, nope, this is out, that's out, that's out." And then they like, well,
Yep.
nobody will know because they haven't seen the parade, so they don't
Yep.
know what's missing, but we can tell
Yep.
what's missing. We don't know
Yeah.
exactly what's
And I
missing, but
think
we know what could be there.
And I think they felt like, because the floats were so gorgeous, that would overshadow everything else, and everyone would just be in love with the parade because the floats were so beautiful. And I don't think that that didn't happen.
You also have people that are
So
just so starved for anything. I was surprised that
true.
they even brought back the parade. Like, again, it's a very expensive operation to run as far as payroll, and
Absolutely.
the park's already packed.
Well, not only that.
Nobody was not coming because there was no nighttime parade. You spent all this money on castle projections. You've got the fireworks. You have nighttime entertainment. If they never brought back another parade again, I don't think it would have ever harmed attendance. It's one extra thing to have, but again, should you have? They didn't rush it out. It's been in development for a while, but it's the big bad budget people.
So the thing is too, is not only no yeah they didn't rush it out. It totally feels like a budget thing. Like they just ran out of money to do it. But it's just crazy, because I mean, I can tell these people, they really do care about what they were putting out there, and I really do. I mean, I guess decisions had to be made, and that's fine. But like, it's just and I don't know. I don't know what the float company, because the float company had just done the movie Magic Parade, so I'm sure they were getting a pretty penny because they did that. So everyone saw how great that was at Universal, and Disney wanted a piece of that. And I'm sure right now with Disney, because of Epic opening, I mean, I'm sure it's like tit for tat. Like, well, look what you did. Look what we can do. We use the same company. So I mean, there might be a little bit of that too, but I mean, not really, but maybe a little bit. But still, it's just one of those things. It's like we were all so excited for this amazing parade, and this is
See, I
what we
think with
got.
Universal,
And
because they're not worried about it being a nighttime show. Disney's more worried about the lights
yeah,
looking pretty than the quality of everything else.
yeah,
Universal, like, screw it, we're doing it during the day, and we're going to put a little extra money into the
yeah.
theming. But those floats are amazing. The Jaws ride with Quint on top of the crow's nest, and
Oh yeah,
the
oh yeah,
ET. Yeah, I mean, ET's 40 something years old now, but um, those are awesome, awesome floats. Very detailed. They look great. You don't have to worry about lighting them up and this. And they just make a float for people to come enjoy and then leave.
And the other thing is too. This is I remember what I was going to say earlier is we also have to keep in mind too that not only is this a huge production budget wise, the logistics of having two parades at the Magic Kingdom, a daytime parade and a nighttime parade at the same time with these massive floats. It's like, where do you put these things? We have two massive parades. Like, what are we? And then you have all the cast that you have to train to be in the parade, and so there's a lot that goes into just the logistics of having two parades, not only just the budget wise. So I understand why it's maybe those things played a factor in it too.
Remember, the logistics were
I
nothing
don't
new.
know.
They used to have two parades. You had those. I mean,
That's
back to the
true.
day when
That's
you
true.
had those giant snow globe floats, and then at night you had Spectral Magic. There was always a place to stage two sets of. Maybe it's again. Maybe they forgot what went into that. The people that aren't around anymore to go. All right, we had to do this and that, and put this here. So there could be a lot that goes into it that they forgot. But this isn't new for them, so they can't use that as an excuse, unfortunately.
That's true. And they've been doing that at other. Yeah, they've been doing that all over. I mean, they have that at Disneyland too. They've had daytime parades and nighttime parades. Not at the same park, but
Still,
you
yeah.
know, at in the area still. So, I mean, it makes sense. So
But it could be. Who knows
I
what
don't
they're
know.
blaming? All we
It's
know is
just,
what we got. And I guess it's one of those, hey, learn to love it, folks, because this is it until we swap it out again.
but the crazy thing is, I was, I think back to Harmonious
Mm-hmm.
at Epcot and some of the recent shows that we've had, even at Epcot. We had the what was the one with the jet skis?
Oh,
That wasn't Epcot
yeah,
Forever.
right.
I know. Well, I think it was Epcot Forever, but the soundtrack for that was good. But it had the jet skis, and then we also had Harmonious, which lasted what, a
Yeah,
year.
that fell flat. They were so
So
excited for that one.
I don't I feel like Disney's not afraid to act something and retool it if it's not doing well. I feel like Luminos, it's not my favorite show ever, but I think it's going to stick around for a while. I really do think it's going to stick around for a while. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think enough people like it to where it's going to stick around for a while. But, time will tell with this parade. I'm not sure. Like, I could totally see them revamping it and adding more scenes or adding more stuff in between the floats. Like, I think that's all it needs. I think it's like 90, like I said, it's 90% of the way there, which just needs that extra 10% push, and then would be, an
Let's
amazing
go
parade.
hypothetical. Oh, go ahead.
And
Sorry.
will they?
No, I was
Yeah,
saying,
no, go
if we go
ahead.
hypothetical here, if they hadn't let the Spectrum Magic floats rot, or if we still had access uh, to Main Street Electrical and they hadn't shipped it to
True.
California, do you, as Disney brass, re-release one of those parades, or do you go ahead and build
True.
a brand new third parade? You have the floats, you have
True.
whatever it is. This is all just if.
Yeah.
Do you say, well, we ran
Yeah.
those already, we ran them into the ground, let's give the
Yeah.
folks something new? Or do you
Yeah.
just take the old stuff and put it back out there because it was working? I don't know. I don't know
And
the answer to that.
that's another thing with this parade too, is there's too many throwbacks. From the beginning of the parade, they have the intro to the Main Street Electrical Parade, which is fine. I've pretty much come to terms because they did this at Disneyland Paris it was called the Electrical Sky Parade, but they kind of kept it like Main Street Electrical Parade theme. They had that on there. Even though this is a new parade, and even with like Paint the Night, they kind of threw in like some Main Street stuff in there too. But this one, like, they tried to throw it back to the Main Street Electrical Parade by including some of the audio from the Main Street Electrical Parade, and then they basically did their own thing on top of that. And then there's also some like small bits in there that sort of reference back to Spectrum Magic, in there as well too. So I think that might be a problem with this parade too. Is they tried to do too much of a throwback that it doesn't have its own identity, because as they did that whole Main Street Electrical parade entrance and outro that they do for that parade in this parade. But it is, the rest of the soundtrack is just the same thing. It's literally down. If you can find it online, I'm sure it's on YouTube by now. If you can find it, listen to it. I mean, 90%, I would say, okay, I'll be more generous. 80% of that show is When You Wish Upon a Star to some sort of electrical beat. It's the same. When you hear it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, over and over and over and over again. So I don't know. You just have to see it. Now I will say, if you are going to go see it, or when you go see it, because I do encourage everyone to see it. Form your own opinions. Don't listen to me. I'm a Disney nut. But if you do, or when you do go see it, go by the castle. Do yourself a favor and watch it from the castle. I like to watch parades on Main Street in front of where they step off in front of at the stepping off point there, because it starts in on Main Street coming out by the fire station there. But by the castle, when the parade starts, there's a whole light show on the castle just for the parade. So they added this little extra bit onto the castle just for the parade. So that is absolutely worth seeing. I would totally go see that. But that is on. You got to be by the castle to really see that stuff, and to really get the effect. That anywhere else in the park, just by the castle, and they have the lights light up behind there, and the castle lights up a different color. So that is pretty cool. I do want to see it again just to see that portion of it. But yeah, and like I said, form your own opinion. You can go on YouTube and see the multitude of things that people are talking about the parade. There's tons of videos out there. Form your own opinion. Go see the parade yourself. Don't let this hinder you from seeing it. I still think you should definitely go see it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this in the future. But I don't know. I'm more excited. I will say the most interesting part about this parade is going to be when Michael sees it, because when we hear what Michael has to say about it, then we'll know. Because I you I feel like Michael isn't a huge parade guy, so I don't know. I feel like your opinion would be like anyone who's like not a huge Disney fan but goes to the parks with their family kind of opinion, maybe. I don't know. But I'm excited for you to see it. I want you to see it.
I will eventually check it out. I mean, I'll have to. But the way we watch parades, we'll just walk, to our next destination,
Yeah,
and we'll just watch it as we're going. I'm not going to
as it
stand
goes
there
by. Yeah,
and
of
watch
course.
something. It's just, it's something to see on my way to wherever we're headed next. From what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying about the soundtrack, it sounds very reminiscent of the holiday parades,
Yeah,
where it's just once upon a Christmas time at Christmas for 20 minutes, a little bit and change here and there, and then not booty you for 20 minutes. So maybe all the parades are that way now. Although, except Spectrum Magic, you had the genie talking, you had each float
yeah,
saying stuff, which was awesome. But I guess not every parade is that way.
and you are correct. But the thing is, with those parades, even though the parade is, um, the booty you song over and over again, I do feel like that parade, the floats have their own individuality. You when a float comes through, there's a lot of floats where you hear their own audio,
Yeah.
and it sounds different.
You have
I mean, like,
the
to me,
characters are talking, they're saying different things. Clarabelle's
exactly.
talking about a recipe or whatever. It's
And
small, it's silly, but it matters and it
yeah,
works.
and the thing is too, when they did that, if you watch that Imagineering, it's episode on YouTube, they talk about there being GPS audio on the floats, which activates when it gets to a certain section. I don't
Hmm.
know, like, because it's new, maybe, like, my thought is maybe it's not working. Maybe the GPS audio just isn't working now. Maybe they haven't quite mastered it yet. I don't know. But
again, they had plenty of time to work out those kinks, and there's
that's
no
true.
way the first time they hear the fans talking about it, they go, "Oh, I guess they're right." They ran it nights when it wasn't even open to the public, and they just
That's true.
had dress rehearsals, and
That's
you
true.
stand there and you go, "Okay, what's working? Wait, I don't hear the audio from here. Someone's
That's
got a
true.
clipboard. Someone's doing
Yeah.
something."
Someone's trying to fix it. Yeah, because
Right.
because Disney knows by this point that the fans are going to speak their mind. I mean, truth be told, when I was there, the night that I was there on Sunday, the Main Street area was a sea of cameras. I've never seen so many tripods in one spot in my entire life. You walk for every two people, one of them had a tripod
Hmm.
and was recording or live streaming or something. So everyone has a voice now. Everyone's talking about the parade. Everything is, they're all talking about it. So Disney knows now that they have to be on point because everyone will be
Right.
talking about it.
It's not exclusively for people who are there, and the whole world is watching that parade at that time. So you really need to know, and you can't be dropping the ball on opening day. That's why you run it for a week or two without an audience, and
Yeah,
you nail everything down. You don't have room for things
exactly.
breaking down or things not working or shortcomings in a parade. You figure that nonsense out way before you introduce it, because by that time that thing's open, the only thing you want are people going, "Holy cow, I cannot recommend this enough." And from everything I've heard so far, that is not the case.
Unfortunately, with this one, as much as I respect the people who worked on this, I feel that is the case, unfortunately. But I have hope that they are going to work on things and it will be better and they will be fixing these things. So I have to believe that they want it to be amazing. So I'm sure that they will work on these things and I mean, to be fair, a lot of people have made a lot of videos. So again, it's,
I don't hold
yeah,
any of the
I
design
really
team
think that,
responsible for any of this, because I know there are some
no,
really talented people out there who have an entire notebook of ideas and designs that weren't used. That were either cut or weren't
yep,
considered, and they go, "Yeah, but this is quality stuff. Yeah, but we don't have the budget, we don't have the time, we don't have the whatever." And maybe
yeah,
they tried to cram too much stuff
yeah,
in, and they whatever. But yeah, you have a lot of people that will never have their dream realized. Hey, they got some of their material in, but this is the unreleased documentary, the unreleased material when they put out a book. This is the what could have been.
exactly.
Everything is always going to be that way. You're never going to be able to use 100% of the material that was presented, but you hope they're taking the best stuff. And as much as you want to hear my opinion on this, I want to hear from the listeners. I want them to find all of our social media. Let us know. Have you heard it?
Absolutely.
Have you seen the parade? What are your
Absolutely.
thoughts? Are we right? Are we 200% wrong? Let
Absolutely.
us know. We love hearing from you. We love your comments. We love your feedback, because it helps us
Yes,
to
of
know, hey, are
course.
we nuts? Maybe we're the ones who are crazy.
I'm okay with being nuts.
I'm fine being
Clearly,
nuts.
that's
I wear that with a
I'm.
badge of honor. But no, I invite you all to comment on Facebook and
Please,
Twitch and
Michael is correct.
anywhere where you are. Find us. YouTube,
YouTube,
send an email, please. We love hearing from you. We try to respond to every email that comes in. I don't think we've
absolutely,
dropped the ball yet. So
absolutely, absolutely. So make sure you're subscribed to us on all our socials so you can comment too about your thoughts on these things and let us know how you feel about this. And that being said, I think we're gonna wrap it up for this week. I didn't want to spend that much time on the parade. I swear I didn't. But we went there. We went there. And you know what? It's almost cathartic. But I will tell you this. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this, because I'm actually going to sit down with my brother again this week. I've been doing a few episodes here. I'm actually going to be on the air this Friday on 91.5 FM in the Orlando area or at WPRK.org. If you're not in the Orlando area, I'm going to be on the Orlando Tourism Report this week, and I'm sure that'll be mentioned. We will definitely talk about it because he was there with me when we saw it. So, We're definitely going to talk about it, and you guys have to tune into that because we have a nice, lively discussion about this, and it always turns into really good conversation on there. So definitely check that out. That is from uh, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WPRK.org, or if you're in the Orlando area, 91.5 FM. So tune into that. You can listen to me on there. I'm in a studio there with a whole setup, so I
All I
sound
know is
way
you better be
better.
plugging this show at the end
Actually, I
of
sound
every
really good
episode
today.
over there. You
I
best be. Yeah,
do.
darn right you
I
do.
have
Of
multiple
course.
times. I have multiple times.
All right.
All right. Well, we certainly appreciate you guys joining us here every week, every Tuesday on our podcast here, and sticking with us here. And to all the loyal people that watch us every week, we appreciate you, and we thank you for joining us every week. And as I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. And I think that's going to do it for this week's show. Michael, do you have anything left to
Oh,
close
we
us
are all
out here?
good. Thank you so much. Going to the Magic Kingdom tomorrow. So my triumphant return to the parks in like a month. I haven't been up there. I've done a lot of
Ooh.
resort hopping, and but I haven't bothered going into the park. So we're going to try to go tomorrow, weather permitting.
Well, I hope to hopefully be there myself, weather permitting, for test track because I really want to ride test track. So if you see us out and about in the parks, I can't speak for Michael, but if you see me in the parks, don't be afraid to say hey. I always like meeting our fans and saying hi to everyone. I usually run into someone that I know in the park, so don't be afraid to say hey if you see us in the parks. But that's gonna do it for this week. Thanks for joining us here. It's been a pleasure speaking with you all this week, and